The afternoon sun sifts through the dense branches of the forest. She was falling on the ground like an expert. The musav has lines of green and golden light. It must have been scattered on the ground. There was moisture in the air. The fragrance of soil and leaves dissolves in the breath. Birds in the treetops. There were chirping and here and there monkeys jumping. The sound of Ajkibat was heard. This scene was not seen by any common man. It would have been like heaven for me. But Ibrahim, for Tarore, this was just one way. The path which was part of his mission. At that time he was a military officer. He was a soldier of his country, to maintain security and peace at all times. Those who are prepared. That day he went to the jungle, with a small convoy in the interior. Were on patrol. After several hours of travel there, the lips were happy and the throat was burning with thirst. Felt like a fountain of water. Water springs were visible somewhere nearby. Was not coming. At a turn in the road I saw an old well. The well's dust. There were thick stones on which moss was grown. Grass and forest plants grew around it. As if no one had come close for years. There was a strange silence in the air. You looked at I stopped the horse and slowly got down. He went to the well. His only intention was that. Look down to see if there is any water. No, maybe I will find some way to quench my thirst. But as soon as he entered the well, he looked up, his heart skipped a beat for a moment. A big leopard was standing on the water's edge below. He was stuck. There was moss and water on his body. There were signs of, as if he had been lying there for several hours or perhaps, I've been stuck here for days and trying to get out. There was a glimpse of fear and exhaustion in his eyes. But at the same time, there was a strange glow of life, as if she was still about to give up hope. You might not be ready. The cheetah looked weak. But the fact that he was alive was dangerous. A wounded or frightened wild animal can attack in a moment. The thought of danger flashes in the mind for a moment. He came, but the very next moment his heart decided. I gave it up. This is one life and this life. She will be saved. He immediately took out the radio. There was the same sternness and conviction in his voice that anyone else had. The uproar is under military command. This is an old well. A live leopard is trapped in it. It has happened. Send the rescue team immediately. Pulley systems, ropes, and protective equipment. Bring it along. Hurry up. Don't waste time. The only answer from the other end of the radio was, I have come. Yes, sir. I will reach immediately, Tarore said. The cheetah noticed their presence. He had already felt it. He shook his head slightly. He picked himself up and looked straight at them. That look was strange. There was neither complete enmity nor complete fear. Rather, it seems as if he thinks that this person is his. Not a threat, but probably helpful. Tara sat down on the edge of the well. He sat down on his horse, tied him close by. He knew that help. It will take some time to come. In the meantime, he will be down. Keep watching the condition of the animal. Sometimes the cheetah is a bit. I would drink some water, sometimes being quiet because of my tiredness. I would lean against the wall. In those moments, how strange this nature was, thought Tarore. Today he is going to save the life of a wild animal. They are standing there. Tomorrow may be the same animal or its breed in a hunt or jungle fight. He should be killed. But at that time there was no need to think about it. There was no time. There was only one purpose to keep him alive. I have to take it out. The sound of an engine came from somewhere far away. The rescue team was arriving. Tarore dug deep, took a breath and prepared himself because I knew that this task was as difficult as it seemed. It is and will be equally dangerous. On the radio, it had been almost 15 minutes since the call was made. But every passing moment in the dense silence of the forest felt like an hour. Ibrahim, leaning down over the edge of the well. I would peek. Then I would straighten up and look at the surroundings. We take stock of the situation. The leopard is still at the water's edge. Neem was lying down. From the movement of his chest, it was clear that he was extremely tired. But his eyes are always on you. used to get up, as if on seeing that person she too. You know something is going to happen. From a distance, a moderate rumble of the engine was heard. This was the same. It was the voice Tarore had been waiting for. A few moments later, from behind the bushes, a strong jeep was seen. Rescue was carried out on it. The unit's letters were written in white. 2 Makami rescue workers got out of the jeep. Both are in orange uniforms and have strong shoulders. Helmet and heavy bag hanging on the shoulders. A police officer was also there with him. But Ibrahim Tarore himself was to oversee the action. He was standing ready for the task. "Salam, sir," a worker said. He went ahead and asked, "What is the situation?" The other asked while looking inside the well, and as his eyes fell on the leopard, he was slightly. Tarore stepped back. Tarore said calmly but strongly. He replied in an accent, "This is a dangerous animal." "Yes, but we are here to save him, not to kill him. We have come. We have to be careful." Pulley ordered to prepare the system immediately. There were 2 strong metal poles on the edge of the well. By burying the stands and tying a strong thread between them, it was put on which the pulley wheel was mounted. Rope with thick fine fibers. It was taken out, at one end of which there was a protective cover. Big iron ring for tying belt was installed. A worker said, "Sir, I need a man to get down." You said without thinking whoever amongst you is the most light and most relaxed mood. Yes, it may go down. This animal is weak, but yet it can attack in a moment. Cheetah. The water below shook a little. His paws. They were creating slight waves in the water. It seemed as if he was looking at the belt and rope. He might have gotten entangled, but he wasn't scared either. Maybe he understood that all this was for his freedom. Rescue worker wearing helmet. Tie the belt around your waist but he kept quiet. The worker said something big. The expertly protected belt fits the body of a leopard. Dust got deposited, especially on the neck and stomach, supporting the part. Meanwhile, Tarore kept giving signals from above. Strong hands. Keep it. Do it slowly. Yes, like this. When completely tied, the pulley wheels. The rope was pulled up, began to pull, and slowly the leopards. The weight started to increase. Every few inches I felt a wave of thirst. I looked down, and for a moment, his eyes resembled those of a leopard. A strange sense of peace and confidence in the eyes, as if he had accepted that there was a person above. This person will take him out of the well of death. There was a strange silence around the well. That's it. The creaking of ropes, the slight rustling of wheels, the sound of a spinning wheel, and the cry of a bird somewhere far away. The call could be heard. Every passing moment, everyone's tension was increasing with. No one knew that at the last moment the animals. What will be the cancellation of the execution? After all, when the head came near the mouth of the well, then the freshness of the air entered my ears. The moment was a sensation for everyone. Held the rope firmly as if this animal's life is more important than life. Be careful. Yes, pull slowly now. Where is the leopard's head now from the well's mouth? It was very close. Everyone standing above had the same heart. They were beating together. The rope was slowly moving, was pulling, and the pulley wheel was light, but Ibrahim was moving at a great speed. Tarore held the rope with both his hands. Helps with leaning back and pulling with weight. The veins on his arms were prominent, but his eyes were fixed on only one thing: bringing the leopard out alive and safe. The leopard which was trapped inside the well for many days. It was definitely weak, but still in his claws. That was the power that could get out of control at any moment. But the strange thing was that she, coming up silently and without any hassle. Perhaps he had also guessed that people are not his enemies. After a few moments, his front paws stick out from the edge of the well. Came out. The light fell on her wet hair. Then it began to glow golden brown. His ears fluttered slightly, but his eyes remained fixed. She remained fixed on the tree above. This was the same sight. who after many years finds them again in the middle of a forest. I had to meet you. Just a little more cautiously, Tarore signaled to his companions. Rescue workers pulled us out of the water. Continued, and finally the cheetah was completely came out of the well, on the ground. As soon as he reaches there, he takes a few deep breaths. His chest was moving up and down rapidly, and drops of water were flowing from his body. It was getting absorbed in the mud. Rescue team immediately retreated so that if the animal if they attack, everyone should be safe. But surprisingly, actually the leopard did not make any public movement. He slowly raised his head. I took stock, then my deep golden eyes, directly pointing towards Ibrahim Tarore. Granted, it wasn't just the sight of an animal. There is such a silent language of gratitude in this. Tarore stared into his eyes for a few moments. He said in a low voice, "You are free now and safe." Yes, perhaps the leopard did not hear this sentence, but the effect of that moment was felt by every person present in the air. Felt it, as if there was an unrequited relationship, connected between human and wild nature. Yes, the leopard took a deep breath. Then, walking slowly towards the forest, he moved forward. There was still a dignity in his gait, as if these days of imprisonment would not break his spirit. You can. After a few steps he stopped, turning back. One last glance and then into the dense trees. He disappeared. The rescue team brought relief. He took a breath. The police officer said a little. He said with a smile, "Sir, you have." He saved him by risking his life. It is indeed. It is extraordinary. Tarore replied bluntly. Dia, whether it is an animal or a human, if life is saved. If you can go, you should save her, she said. Ordered the pulley system to be removed and the luggage was put back in the jeep. As soon as he rode on his horse, the sun heading towards the west. The ground was sloping towards the ground. The shadows of tall trees, but they were spreading in the atmosphere of the forest. The silent promise that was made that day was echoing. It was a promise that time has not forgotten. On the return journey, Tarore would repeatedly look at that. I was remembering the moment when the leopard. I looked at him straight in the eye. That look was not merely awe or gratitude, but, like we want to say something deep. I will meet you when you need me. The thought seemed like a mere coincidence at the time, but this is going to become true in the years to come. And that truth began on that very day. It happened near an old well. That day, he passed away, but his memory is still alive. Ibrahim Tarore. Such an impression was made in my mind as if someone, shoulder on the stone, leopard at the edge of the well. That moment of saving is just a memory for them. No, it had become a feeling. This feeling, that life is respected for every creature. It should be like this, whether it is a human or wild animals. After this sentence, the week turned into months and months into years. You kept getting promoted in the army. He served in many. He performed difficult operations. Frontier. Established peace in the areas and protected our country. Defeated the internal enemies of the political situation started changing. Badinwani, Gare. National issues and public problems have affected the country. Pushed them towards Bahrain. In those days the people needed a leader who could do not give speeches but follow them practically. Tarore stood up with his resolve and he played that role with honesty. From a military officer, he gradually became a nationalist. He entered politics. Initially, he was a member of the PASUM, worked in the scene, impact on policies, kept posting. But soon their truth and the audacity was exposed in front of the people. In the country, the time for rebellion has come. The old regime was against the people, had failed to solve the problem and the powerful. This section sells the national resources for its own benefit. Tarore took stock of the situation. After taking it, I decided that now the time had come. It is for him to openly take up the reins. This decision wasn't easy because it meant the list of enemies grew longer. Several weeks After the planning and strict action of the rebellion was successful and Tarore became the capital of Burkina. He became the head of the noose. This is for the people. There was a ray of hope but for the enemies. Alarm bells. After becoming the chief, the routine of life changed. Morning. Waking up early, national security meetings. Discussion on Jirai policy, Madani waysales. Surveillance and in the evening with world leaders. That connection is not just in the capital. Used to sit but he himself was from remote areas. Those gold cues, those gold earrings. But they would conduct surprise raids to ensure that illegal excavations are carried out. Can be stopped. This attitude of theirs towards the public. It became a reason for acceptance. But every dangers increased with each step. Old political enemies, foreign mafia and the powerful lobby got together. So that he can be removed from power. Threats are coming. And conspiracies against him intensified. The security team warned him several times. He was told to limit his imitative actions. But Tarore said that if I was scared to go out among people. I will lose my right to be a businessman. All these incidents. One thing is always there in their minds, the scene. It is present in the white-brown color. Cheetah. Sometimes during the night when he is in his. Looking out of the office window he saw. I remember the moment when I came out of the well. The leopard took one last look. He thought, would that animal still be alive? Would that animal still be alive? Will he ever be able to recognize me? This question is merely a test. It was not. There was also a silent conviction that there are some relationships in life that would connect without words or promises. Tarore did not know that the people coming. This relationship is the only thing that can save their lives in time. It will become a reason. In the second year of his presidency, the hostility reached a new level. Shumali. There were reports of rebellion on the border and intelligence. Told that this is not just an internal spice. Rather, there are big foreign hands behind this too. This was not to be merely a military operation but a deadly mission in which Karod Sadr lost his life. It was necessary. He knew it was dangerous. But it was not possible for him to retreat. The same spirit that had driven a leopard into a well years ago. It was meant to be taken out. Today, an entire community. I was there for this. I have to save lives. No matter what. It may happen. They had no idea that the mission is not just a test of his leadership. But will take up an old identity again. Will make him alive and that identity in the middle of a forest. She will stand in front of them. For 30 in the morning. It was the time of the Sultan. In the atmosphere of the capital, there was a slight tinkling sound. But inside Sadarati Mahal, unusual excitement was continuing. Ibrahim Tarore wears a military uniform in his small room. Wearing a coat of arms, maps and intelligence reports. Were surveying. The northern border was on the table. A detailed map was spread out. A red map was written on it. The colored circles were making noise that the enemy. Where are they hiding? Latest intelligence. According to the latest report on the northern border, a stronghold of rebellion was established in a forest nearby. It was not just the Makami tiger. Rather, behind them is the capital of external powers. And they had weapons too. Their aim was to kill the ears and, by capturing the Kahudarti facility, the country. Simply put, it is a simple mistake. This news. Hearing this, Tararore's face turned stern. Top military officers were gathered in the command room. 1. The general advised, "Sir, this mission. Hand over the command to some other commander. Your going is not without danger." Tarore. I looked at him. There was the same Ajim in his eyes. The speaker seeing a leopard at the well years ago. When the leader of the people himself did not come to the field. Then it would not have been an action but just a rule. He gave his verdict saying that he himself will be involved in this mission. Commandos. ABI special unit was formed. The weapons were checked. The vehicles were prepared and one helicopter is available for air surveillance. As night fell the convoy, I left the city of power. The sky was covered with clouds, and the moonlight bombs the hard ground. I was reaching there, entering the dense forest. The vehicles started moving slowly. Unpaved roads, mud and tall roots made the journey more difficult. Made it difficult. After about 2 hours, suddenly firing started from the front. The sound of gunfire pierces the darkness. Got up. The first car of the convoy stopped. Behind, the vehicles also stopped immediately. On the radio, a soldier's voice came. "Sir, we are surrounded. They are gone." Tarore looked out of the window. The enemy behind bushes and trees. The movements were clearly visible. The bullets were close by. It was coming and going. He immediately gave the order. "Take position. Fire back. But the movement. Keep doing it. But the enemy is more in number," and he was familiar with the area. In a few minutes the convoy. The order was shattered. The sound of explosions and a few drops of rain made the atmosphere brighter. Made it terrifying. Vehicles were damaged by mud. The tires started slipping. Some soldiers were standing in different directions. They moved away from each other and got lost in the chaos. He was left alone. He was standing under a big tree. He was trying to restore his breathing by leaning back. It was so dark all around that a few steps ahead. Nothing was visible clearly. The bullets were now. Was also running with loyalty. But their center. He had been transferred somewhere else. You thought. In this condition, the more he stays in one place. Stop, the danger will increase. He will do it in many ways. He started walking up the stairs. The floor of the forest was wet. Every leaves and twigs rustled on the steps. Suddenly there was a movement in the bushes on the left. His heart stopped for a moment. The hand automatically went towards the weapon. Finger was on the trigger. He thought maybe it was. There is an enemy soldier waiting in ambush. He is sitting. But the scene he sees in the next moment. What was in front of them astonished them. A hazy shadow emerged from the bushes. First 2 golden eyes were visible. Then, a big, powerful body in the wet light, and, as that shadow came closer to Tarore, the recognition made my heart beat faster. It was a leopard, full of brilliant waqar and exactly the same. Just like they pulled it out of the well years ago. But he was not alone. There were 2 boys behind him. And there were adult leopards and a young leopard as well. The same. Who once sat scared at the edge of the well. In the silence of the forest, Tarore felt like this. It was as if time had stopped. In their eyes, a glimpse of recognition, and the old in the leopard's eyes. The glow of the memory was clearly felt. The rain. Light drops are now falling from the branches of the forest. It was dripping and falling on the ground. Moisture and soil. The fragrance of the sun had dissolved in Hija. The darkness has now. It was also deep. But she was coming from the front. I can feel the golden eyes piercing this darkness. Ibrahim Tarore was in a few moments. I became absolutely still for it, as if time had stopped. The cheetah standing in front of them was like a common man. He was not looking like a wild animal. There was recognition in the eyes. An old memory. There was a reflection. The cheetah moved forward slowly. There was gentleness and dignity in every step he took. As if he, not to frighten Tarore but to give confidence, has come to remind him that he is not alone. Tarore's eyes are on her every feature and look. It was the same animal that was frozen. He had taken some money from an old well years ago. At that time there was mud on his body, and the moss was frozen, and there was fear in the eyes. But today he is a wonderful, strong and free man. I was standing in front of them like a creature. But the surprise did not end here. There were 2 more behind him, and the adult leopards came out. Rain fell on their bodies. The drops were shining like pearls. And then a young cheetah appeared. The same one who, years ago I was sitting scared near the well, when his mother was being evacuated. Today he had grown up, but his eyes were still soft. There was still some innocence left. In the silence of the forest. For a moment it seemed to Tarore as if all this may have been a dream. But the reality was that the animals remember that moment from many years ago. This was the law of nature that one often forgets. Time does not erase a favor. Can't the distance? The big cheetah can go a few steps further. He came closer. He was now at such a distance that Tarore can hear the soft sound of her breathing. He did not bend, did not pounce, just silence. He stood there. His eyes seemed to be saying, "We know you and we are here for you." Tarore has buttoned his weapon, loosened it, took my finger off the trigger, and I slowly took a step forward. I touched his lips, but there was a moderate smile and a low voice. I said, "I knew that one day you will return. You will come." The leopard's ears fluttered slightly as if you might be understanding this sound. Then he looked back. I turned around and looked at my friends, and then, in a moment, all four of them headed towards the bushes. He rushed to the direction from where the enemy was. There were faint sounds. Only a few. In seconds the forest erupted into screams, roars, and the sound of gunfire echoed through the enemies. There was chaos in the queues. Some people were scared. They started firing indiscriminately. Some people were in the dark. I tried to run away, but the cheetahs, the speed, agility, and mastery of it was unbelievable. Every roar echoed the jungle. It made the shadow deeper, the shadow of a tree. He was standing behind and watching the scene. The heart was beating fast. But this fear, there was no palpitations, but surprise and gratitude. These animals not only recognized them, but also, in fact today I would have risked my life to protect them. Were ready to risk it. Shortly, the enemy's bullets stopped and he started to spread completely. Very fast. Silence prevailed. Only the sound of cheetahs could be heard somewhere far away. A faint sound of running away remained. Then, a moment later, the same big cheetah appeared again. Came in front of Tarore. On his body, there was a slight sore throat, but the eyes were still the same. There was a calmness as if it was telling that there was danger. It has been postponed. Trying to save his comrades. They were being targeted. The swift movement of the cheetahs, the surprise attack and silent ambush destroyed the enemy, had broken the weapons. On one occasion, Tarore, I saw an enemy soldier hiding behind a tree. He is slowly moving towards them. Long gun in hand. He immediately fired he turned his weapon towards him. But before they could fire, the big cheetah struck with lightning, came from behind and knocked down that soldier. Seeing this scene, Tarore's heart was filled with sorrow. The gratitude increased even more. Gradually, the sounds of firing started to diminish. The enemy, the rest of the Manva people, disappeared into the depths of the forest. And the sound of their footsteps too became silent. Only the moisture after the rain remained for the cheetahs. The sound of breathing and a wound somewhere far away. The voice of the enemy's actions remained. Tarore moved forward with helpless steps. The leopard took a step back as soon as he saw them. He moved aside as if to give way. Tarore. Both stood equal and for a moment looked into each other's eyes. These eyes. She was speaking. "We have destroyed the enemy. You are safe now." He took a deep breath. I took a look around and then opened my ears. I said on the radio, "This is Sardar Tarore's words. I am here. The enemy has come closer." But this relief was just a war, not the end of it was also a matter of keeping the promise. Tarore thought. I repeated the scene of that day. That old one. Well, the wet leopard, and in his eyes, hope. Today, after years, that hope is in my favor. Had changed. The cheetahs went a little farther. The young leopard stopped his steps. The young leopard leapt once. Looked at him as if he too knew that the same person who once killed his mother. Then they all went to hell. Time vanished in the dense trees. Looked towards the forest for a moment as if, I am thanking you in my heart. For him it was not just a victory in a battle. Rather, it is the victory of a human and natural relationship. Was the one that crossed both time and distance. After the enemy had surrounded him in the jungle, an unusual silence prevailed. Only now, the moisture dripping from the leaves after the rain, the soft sound of drops, and somewhere far away, the soft call of a bird can be heard. Ibrahim Tarore took a deep breath, and I surveyed my surroundings. The noise of war. Now how did Imaji look? But his heart. I still had the heartbeat of that scene. The moment when the leopards stood as a shield for them. A few minutes later, a call came on his radio. A crocodile voice emerged. "Sir, we are close." Are you safe?" Tarore replied. "I am absolutely safe. The path is clear." Immediately, "Come on." In a short while their own commandos were seen coming out of the bushes. There was an expression of surprise and happiness on the faces. The officer came close and saluted and said, "Sir, I was informed that you are surrounded by the enemy." "Yes." "We thought maybe Tarore interrupted us." Said with a slight smile. "Jungle." He supported me. He used these words very well. Said it with seriousness and confidentiality. Someone. He did not dare to ask any question. In his tone. Such was the situation that no one knew anything more. Don't try. But Tarore knew that the real heroes were the leopards. He mentioned, "I was not going to tell anyone. This was such a secret, which was only for him and the dwellers of the forest." In the meantime, the Persians had recaptured the area, took care of the injured soldiers, and the remaining goods were collected. Convoy got back in order. Ibrahim Tarore, sitting in an armored car but by the window, through the mirror their gaze is continuously looking into the forest, was lost. He was thinking that maybe somewhere far away, behind the dense trees, those leopards are still watching them. Return. A journey through mud and broken roads. Felt like a long time was passing by, but there was a strange sense of peace in his mind. He felt that Kahud had once. Then I reminded them that goodness never. Raigon does not go. A moment from years ago. The scene of a well is the reason for saving his life today. It was made. Before reaching Darul Hukamat, the convoy stopped at the checkpost. The soldiers there. He was surprised to see Sadr because he had not reached there yet. The news had reached that the Sardar was in the enemy's camp. Is surrounded. A young soldier shamefully. The voice said, "Sir, we thought you would not return. We will come." Tarore smiled and called over his shoulder. I put my hand on it. "Son, when the intention is clear, then it is good. Protects itself." The boundaries of the capital. Around the convoy as it entered the security became strict. After reaching the palace, media teams were also present there. But Raver refused to answer any questions. He refused. He just said that the mission succeeded and our country is safe. But another decision is taking birth in my heart. The fungus is present in the forests and wildlife. A new program for this program is just. It was not to praise the natural environment, but there was a caste promise. The root of that promise was laid that day, when a leopard was stuck in a well during the rain. With a wet body, I looked towards them with hope. I was watching with my eyes. At night when she was alone, sitting in my room looking out the window, somewhere behind the city lights. It was the forest that gave them the gift of life today. He was thinking that the meaning of this story, the mention will never come before the public. But its effect is always reflected in his decisions. He put out the lamp, but it will remain in his mind. One picture remained bright. For leopards in the rain, roaring at the enemy in the wet darkness, attacking, and for a moment, I would stand in front as a shield. This is just to protect myself. I told my secretary that it was not a return but a new forest department. Even after returning to Darul and Makami communities, the jungle is a journey from the mind. The secretary asked in surprise. Moments were not we have just important. Defeated the enemy. Whenever those eyes. People are closing their doors. We will work on this. Their leopards I will give a statement soon. The roar and the sight of the enemy with a smile and gave the statement starts later. Playing out like a movie. The lesson I learned yesterday in the jungle. It was not success. I have learned nature that it should be ready now. There was a relationship between them. The atmosphere was very tense, and I had joined the army, and today I reached my destination. That the next morning, Saturati was the first person in the office. I talked to him in detail. To be held by the National Security Council, not just but humans. Tarore changed the agenda. It's also about animals who have been living here for centuries. This is our. There is a balance in the environment, and if we protect them, if we don't do it, we will cut our own roots. He ordered that on the edge of the forest, protected zones should be created where hunting and non-hunting. There should be a strict ban on legal harvesting. Makami, tribes should be included in this, and they employment so that he himself can look after the forest. He became a muafiz. He also protected the wildlife. A special fund has been set up for protection, which was aimed at injured animals. Treatment, promotion of rare breeds and danger. Restoration of the building was pending. Samvajra. Sir, I said with caution, I am investing a lot in this. You will need it, and there is still a lot of pressure. Tara. The leopard bowed its head slightly as if he is admitting this. Then he looked back and saw a girl from the bushes. A young cheetah appeared. His antics and seeing the innocence in the eyes. Tara immediately. I recognized it. It was the same young cheetah that had been there for years earlier. He was found in the forest with his mother. Now he is free, strong, and proud of his own race. He had become a protector. This scene was it was not a meeting but a sign. The impact of the goodness of the message reaches generations. This moment is politics for Tarore more valuable than fame or success. This was a confirmation from destiny for them. Thought that their path was correct. Cheetah and his young companion stood there for some time. Then silently it disappears into the dense trees. He went away. He stood there looking at the forest. Keep this moment in your heart forever. You are keeping it safe for me. In the evening when he comes back. When I reached Daryl Hucat, one of his office. A new picture was put on the wall. Photo I had the view of a hill with dense trees below. Golden sunlight was spread on the tree and above. A new picture was put on the wall. Photo I had the view of a hill with dense trees below. Golden sunlight was spread on the tree and above. A simple sentence was written beneath the photo. Loyalty and good nature are the laws which they never break. This picture is just for the public. It was a beautiful scene. But for Tara, it was a secret. A story that only that jungle knew, and those leopards knew it. Over time, this Kahisa is a non-governmental organization within the country. It has become a story. People say that our leader is only these humans don't even have any protectors of the jungle. Tarore is a protector. Tarore never told this story. He did not express himself. But his decisions, his idamat, and everything that's deep in their eyes. Something was visible. It was just a picture of a tiger and a leopard. It was not a story but a lesson that goodness, no matter how short the time is, travels in the currents, and when it returns, comes back many times more. Like a leopard trapped in a well, a jungle night, and a silent promise, Burkina forever became part of the date of the funeral.